Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
I didn't see the email from this morning till I just got home from work, so I apologize.
It was just, yeah, no problem. It was just the one
Okay,
small change, so nothing
yeah,
irreversible.
okay.
We got Joe here. We're waiting on Rich, and then I think you're the only one who's joined so far. But I'm going to send a reminder so everyone has it at the top of their email.
How we doing?
Doing
Hi,
well.
How's everybody doing?
very good, and yourself?
Not too bad.
How's life back at the campus?
Oh, absolutely insane.
I'm sure it is.
Absolutely insane. Starting to get used to the normal insanity though.
Our, I don't know if you guys have reported anything or if you can say anything, but have the infection rates stayed where you want it to?
It's not bad. We're about I think we're about 6 or 8 students, which isn't too bad.
Good, good. I'm glad you have it under control.
Did
Yeah,
you have to do a lot of building reconfiguration, Rich?
we did. Yeah,
Did you?
we've taken classrooms that usually seat, say 30 people, and it's down to probably 12.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So there's a lot of students that are here. We really didn't reduce the number of students by that many. Our usual on a normal year we'd be at about 2,200. We're down to about 1,700 or 1,750,
No, all right.
which we all thought were going to be a lot less than that, but that's what we have. And a lot of students are doing some classes in person, some classes they'll stay in the rooms and do it online. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's very different. But
When did the students come back? How long have you had them on campus?
so the first day of classes was the Wednesday after Labor Day.
Okay, so you've been in it for a while now.
Yeah, we're starting our second week. So
Yeah,
yeah,
never a dull moment.
that's for sure. A lot of enhanced cleaning, a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
Kathy, it could have been you doing all those sessions
I'll
up
tell
there.
you, I'm not usually a lucky person, but I consider myself lucky.
Yeah.
that's for
Poor,
sure.
poor Rory. That's all I keep saying. Oh my God.
Well, I just want to say we just started this. So we are live streaming right now via YouTube. It's, we don't usually have anyone watching, but it is one of those requirements to do a public meeting. So just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that this will be up and we'll have the recording.
Okay.
Great. Whoop, whoop, and then the technology falls. So that everyone can see you guys. We're up on the big board here. So we have Rich and we have Joe in the room. It looks Bob Martin, nice to see you. I see
Here.
and Kathy. So
All right, very good. Are we going to get Kristen? I think she could.
I didn't hear her say yay or nay, but I know she has a new baby at home. So I assume that she's got her hands full.
I'm going to give it one more minute. I got 4:34. Let me just give it 1 minute, guys. Appreciate the time.
She just signed on.
She did?
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
It's
Hi,
Kristen.
Kristen.
How are
Hi.
you?
Hi, Kristen.
Doing okay. It's a whole new world.
Yeah. Well, before we call to order, let's all say congratulations. I know we've done that in email already, but congratulations, Kristen. On
Congratulations, Kristen.
Yes, congratulations.
Congrats.
Thanks so much.
Yes, yes, we're very happy for you, and and baby and family. So,
I'm assuming that you didn't want David to be the only one who didn't have any sleep these days.
right. And I just had my 5th grandchild.
Wow.
Not just, Luca's what? Rich, how old is my 5th grandchild? Can you tell me?
Does he know for you?
So what's that? It's about 7 or 8 months, right?
3 months now. He's awesome. He's awesome. So, okay, so let's go ahead and call to order the September 15th, 2020 Capital Region Land Bank Board of Directors meeting. I want to thank everyone for attending today. I thank David for you to allow us socially distanced, safe meeting here at the Metroplex conference room. Thank you. I think it's important to come back together when we can. I also recognize and respect the rights or the desires for folks to want to kind of stay in Zoom. I like to be with others, and I think it's important for our dynamics, that flexibility. Minutes sent out. We haven't met in a couple of months. That is not to say that activity hasn't taken place, but I think it was by staff and leadership to not meet for the last couple of months. And I appreciate meeting sent out June 16th. I get a motion to approve the minutes. And a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Okay, the minutes are moved into the record. Joe, do you want to talk treasurer? You want to keep doing? I know you got just a couple more things to do.
No, I'm not going to that.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over for a treasurer's report.
You've got the treasurer's report in front of you. What you're not seeing on the comparison is that we spent just over $304,000 out of the administrative account for the months of May through August. Anything from the Amsterdam account, and just over $1,400 out of the Schenectady account. So that shows that we've been doing some activity here in Schenectady, paying bills, demolition, and some of the other rehab work that some of the agencies have been taking care of.
Great.
Aside from that, I have, it's obviously our total assets that we have in cash at this point are a bit reduced from last time. That's the expenditures that we've done. And this equity account, as you can see, itself is fairly healthy, nearly $1 million in that account. And we are in good financial shape, and I think that we're in good shape as far as spending money.
To comment, and then we'll get an approval, but I think that, again, we're fiscally responsible throughout the program years, and it's resulted in some dollars to continue our mission with respect to moving blight, stabilizing neighborhoods, and executing desire to want to rehabilitate and or support projects that can stimulate given corridors, whether it be in Schenectady, the county of Schenectady, or in the city of Amsterdam. And we'll talk about a little bit of that in chairman's and the executive report on what projects look like coming up. But any questions, dollars and cents from any of the board members? So can I get a motion to approve in a second?
Motion.
Great, thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed. The treasurer's report is moved into the record. Thank you. I do want to just say, with regrets, Bob DiCaprio was not able to attend. He sends his regards. I spoke to him live and in person. Live and in person over the phone. Sorry. In great spirits, in great health, and just it didn't work today. They thought it was going to, and it didn't. But we wish him continued success and recovery, and he was sounding really good. So please extend only good thoughts and well wishes to him, and we're looking forward to seeing him in person soon. Okay, so chairman's report. I'm going to steal a little bit. Dave and I debriefed a couple weeks or about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, And we talked about Schenectady demos and Amsterdam demos and rehabs, and, you know, just a lot of activity has been completed again in this administrative program conference, if you will, right? The enterprise money 4.0, the enterprise money 4.2, if you guys recall, you know, those buckets of dollars, you know, 121 demos by the bank, a number of demos in Amsterdam, rehab projects. So continuing to do the work that we set out to do back in 2013. I've said it before, I'm supremely proud of this board and what we've achieved and what we have accomplished and what I believe that we're going to continue to accomplish. There's some bid work going on in Amsterdam, a couple more things to do here in Schenectady. I'll let David kind of dive into the details in his report. I know the advisory committee met, was reshaped in Amsterdam and met. Bob DiCaprio, I'm happy to hear from you on how that meeting went. There's talk of a letter of support for a DePaul project in Amsterdam. So again, continuing to drive value into Amsterdam, and they're continuing to leverage that value that the land bank has created and the momentum that we've created. So just great job, Bob DiCaprio and Bob Martin and our friends at Orion in continuing to create value in Amsterdam. A number of rehabs that have obviously impacted our neighborhoods. To the details with the Habitat. And then, you know, we spoke the last time about, you know, what do we do in terms of connecting with our community, connecting with leaders in our community, with groups in our community that are moving the ball, you know, at the micro level, at the neighborhood level, at the leadership level. And we just kind of reviewed, you know, we've worked with SEAT and Ron Gardner and Habitat and the community preservation and better neighborhoods. And, you know, we've moved the ball for the Main Street program. So many things that we've done over the last couple of years. And I talked about trying to drive some additional membership on the board, maybe an advisory council. We talked about forming a committee to have that discussion, and just kind of getting some details around how we should do that. I would like to still continue to drive that committee and have that discussion with you all. But, you know, at a high level, I feel like continuing to drive, you know, like a strategic zombie project where neighborhood stabilization comes from not just a demolition or a rehab, but it comes from maybe supporting the trade and training projects and trade and training engagements that are going on now within our community. Ron Gardner comes to mind. I'm sure Amsterdam has a similar outreach organization. And I felt like that might be an avenue that we might want to explore in terms of how do we continue to drive value into our neighborhoods. That's our core mission. It was remove blight when we had a bunch of money to do straight up demos. It was stabilized by, you know, leveraging other people's money and investing strategically, which, you know, David and your team have done a great job. You guys always have, and you continue to lead the way. And now I feel like maybe we can help support the education, the training, the engagement, these projects, still doing the projects, but leaning into how do we that might benefit by bringing neighborhood folks into that mix, getting them trade training, giving them an opportunity to get their hands, get some experience and skill sets, maybe working with Habitat, maybe working with community preservation or better neighborhoods. So more to follow there. Wanted to let you know that did not fall dead. It never was going to. Reaching out to certain members of our community to kind of pierce the interest. And like I said, more to follow when I think David and I can probably put something of a framework on the table and then get our committee to come together and shape that correctly. What else can I talk about? again, driving value on Crane Street, another corridor, engaging Mount Pleasant Business District, and the remaining Enterprise 4.2 funding. A tremendous amount of work has gone on behind the scenes since we kind of last really talked to each other in this room back in February of last year, or February of 19. And I really want to say I'm very, we benefit from what you guys have done every day, David, and I appreciate you and your team, as does the rest of the board, I'm sure. And with that, I'll turn it over to you to kind of fill in some of the details on the executive directors.
It is February of 20 that we met. It wasn't.
I meant 20. I meant 20. For all who are listening
I'm like, oh my
online.
God, how old is my child?
Right, right. Kristen's already had her third baby.
I know. All right, so just give you an update on some of the projects, Rich. I appreciate your summary. So we are still actively trying to spend down the 4.2 admin funding as Joe referenced. So we have 760 Eastern that we're working on with Habitat. We've gone through it. The sheetrock has been completed. We've helped them with some additional subcontracting work to get some tapers in there. They're going to be doing some exterior repairs to the cornice. Very visible on that corridor, so that is good news. They're looking to move on their Carey Street projects, the two homes that are going to be across the street from the first project we did with them. They have all the permits in place, and they're going to be pouring the foundations in mid-September. So obviously things have been delayed with COVID, especially for Habitat, which relies so heavily on volunteers. They have volunteers, just some of the larger groups have not been able to participate as they usually do. In Mount Pleasant, we've done some work on our Crane Street infill project. We did a phase 1 on that whole area of potential development, came back very positive for future development. We did some asbestos surveys on 2 of the city properties that would be a part of the project on Pleasant Street. So we're doing some of the pre-development work, trying to get a larger project going. You know, we are aware, well, you know, we were very excited about DePaul's project in Amsterdam. I can't remember if this has been brought up before, but the Amsterdam Advisory Committee has made the recommendation to the board that we use some of Amsterdam's discretionary funding to help with some of the blight removal on the site and within the area as a focus area on the east end. So that's positive that that application went into the state, which would be a game changer in that neighborhood in Amsterdam. We also were working, talking to DePaul and others about the Crane Street project. The reality is that everyone is very aware that the amount of money put aside for some of these large affordable housing projects may be diminished over the next few years. So they're all evaluating their pipeline and where to go. So, you know, the Crane Street infill will be, you know, it will be a monumental project that we'll have to stay on even, you know, for a few years here. We decided that, you know, with changes, Better Neighborhoods Incorporated was really leading the Mount Pleasant Merchants effort to get people together. So it's been since February since that group had gotten together. We are going to have a outdoor meeting with them on the 21st this month, just to keep the momentum going in Mount Pleasant. It was a good community building activity, and we don't, you know, unfortunately, we all can't be together as much as we want, but we find that important. While we have one item today that, because it's a real estate matter, it was time sensitive, we had to go over. In October, we expect a full agenda. The next, last demolition funding related to Amsterdam. A bid was put on the street today. It will be returned October 6th. It includes 6 Amsterdam properties. 3 will be in the base bid and 3 will be alternates just to see what kind of value we get. We've also been working, and Kristen will be happy to hear this, that her department continues to work hard in her absence. We've been working with the development department at the city of Schenectady on 3 properties, one which is a condemned structure that they would very much like to get down, but you know, they have issues with the general fund right now. And 2 are priority properties that we see on Barrett Street that are close to the Live in Schenectady initiative and close to land that we own that we'd like to, you know, see redeveloped in the future. We put those 3 properties in this bid with the Amsterdam properties to get pricing and then work with the development department to see how we work together to fund a few more um, demolitions in Schenectady as well. Rich mentioned working with Ron Gardner, the affirmative action officer in the city, with his contractor training program. The city has identified a property that is a candidate for renovation. They've done some initial plans on how to renovate it. They've also demolished the property next door. They've requested that we consider holding the property and overseeing the work with the contractor training program. We're actively putting together that project, and we hope by October we'll be able to submit a proposal to the board and maybe even some bid pricing so we can see how we can take part in a important initiative that's more than just bricks and mortar and buildings, but farther developing programs that will impact our community, such as the Seed Project did on Prospect and others. So last thing, we also put in home leasing is moving along really well at their project on the former St. Mary's. Still looking for an early 21 completion. They expect by October that the framers will be back out on site and getting the building framed up, the new construction on Eastern. They had entered into option agreement with this City of Schenectady School District to purchase Elmer Avenue School and with a proposal of reusing it as senior housing, historically preserving the property. We facilitated meeting with the neighborhood association this past week. Heard nothing but positive comments about the reuse of that property, which would really preserve the look of it now and not add any additional density to the site. Neighbors appreciated our outreach. We submitted a letter in support of the project to the Board of Zoning Appeals because just like with St. Mary's, it's in a two-family district, and we wanted to make sure that in consideration of a special use permit that we supported the project and that our work with the community it continues to drive some of the success we've had on Eastern Ave. So with that, if there's any questions, please let me know.
So I just want to kind of come back to the chairman's side in kind of reference to that contractor training program. More detail to follow there, but that's essentially what we're talking about, which is having some oversight, some guidance, and some administrative support to kind of help on the project management, while Ron brings in the resource and the skill set and the trade activity. I feel like we've got a lot of horsepower on that project administration side that I think we can help leverage and community can benefit from. So just a kind of a big broad stroke there on what we're thinking and what I'm thinking and what I think the board would be impactful to the community. So more to follow there, and I appreciate everyone's input on shaping another success for us and the community there. I think it's a great story. Excited about that. So, okay. Thank you very much.
Success story I see every time I come downtown is Tribute Park. There was not a great deal of activity going on there in May and June. In July and August, every time I came down, there were people in the park, either having lunch or using the splash pad and wandering around. And there were kids, which is what we wanted with a few of us. So I think that's going to benefit to the area.
Yeah, I think that's a great call out, great shout out, Joe. And I'll tell you what I think it also did is it started the wave, if you will, of other splash parks. So what we did on Eastern was pretty novel at the time, and was a great project, and we took a lot of blight down and turned it into a park. We're seeing replicated in other areas, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, and I'll just add that Tribute Park was a site we actually, the city partnered with the Boys and Girls Club to program 6 neighborhood parks in the city to get some youth engagement happening, given, the disengagement that happened in the months preceding. So it was really nice to be able to do something in the neighborhoods and then to have a place like Tribute Park, to be able to activate right on Eastern Ave, right where so many, kids live and they can walk there. So that was a really good site to utilize, given some of the issues at Vale Park and with access, and then with also just other things. So that was a really positive thing that we were able to do with the Boys and Girls Club to have some youth programming in the summer.
Well, that's such another great shout out. Thank you, Kristen, for the clarity. Because you're right, having Boys and Girls Club, giving them the programming capacity or ability to have the capacity, it means a lot. And that was started by the land bank, started by this board, and the community followed through. And we're great. We're lucky that we have other agencies like Boys and Girls that want to do programming at our parks and have the ability to do that. I'm glad that Tribute Park was leveraged for that. So well done. Okay. So with that said, we do have one item on the board's agenda tonight to consider.
I'll just make the note that I did identify that the agenda as sent out said acquired properties from City of Schenectady. That was a mistake. We've corrected the agenda to say that it is to deal with the property matter at 1051 Barrett, approve the sale of the property and remove the deed restriction.
So, I'll let David summarize, but essentially, again, 1051 Barrett, we sold this back in 2014. There is a restriction, it's a clawback. I think that this project, I think we got exactly what we wanted to get done here, but I'll let David detail it, let the board make input decision.
Yeah, we went back and forth with Mr. Buttonshon and his partner Virginia West. They've spent time living there in the one unit and renting the additional unit. They've kept the property up well. They have, over the past year, a little bit longer, actually put it on the market twice. They've gotten 2 offers, and both were from non-owner occupants. The most recent one from Anthony Reyes, an affiliate entity of his. He owns 2 properties in the city of Schenectady, and he's done a fair job of keeping them up. He's addressed any issues that have come up. There's no outstanding code issues. Obviously, as a board, I think that we continue to want to promote home ownership. Specifically in areas where it may not be, the right ratio that we're looking for. In this situation, it's been almost 5 years. There's a 5-year deed restriction. Since Mr. Buttonshon owned the property, they've explained that, they are in a position where, they won't be able to spend time up here. I said, I could present to the board that you return how much you bought the property for, and, we can remove that with consideration that we have 2 properties that are owned by the city that are falling down across the street. I feel that this is, in line with what we're trying to do. We obviously have the Live in Schenectady projects, which are all about home ownership. They're coming on board. This property helps stabilize the values in that area. They feel comfortable paying us back the $6,500 because they were able to stabilize the property and get out of it and do what they need to do. So I talked to Enterprise. They had no issue at this point with us removing the deed restriction, and I would recommend that we do that and continue to do what we do best, invest the money that we have into removal of future blight.
I just want to add, and I'll turn it over for open comment, but in the board memo, second sentence from the bottom or third sentence from the bottom, this funding can be redeployed into the neighborhood as we currently price, or the currently pricing demolition of 2 additional remaining blighted influences across the street. The fact that we're going to get the 6,500 back, we're in a, obviously highly constrained time. I don't really want to stand in front of somebody trying to sell the property if they have a decent offer, and they're making us whole on the deed restriction and the covenant that we set forth, and I think the dollars can be better leveraged. With that, I certainly want to hear if others have a counter opinion or feel strongly, one way or another.
Move the motion.
A second or any other?
I
I'll
guess
second it.
this is Kristen. I guess I'm just curious, the owner, Anthony Ray's, David, you said he owns 2 other properties in the city?
Yep.
Okay,
One,
and,
directly next door to our colleague Mark Meir. So, you know, he knows him, he's met him. Spoke to
okay.
him.
Does he live in the city or no? I'm just curious if he,
Nope. Yeah,
okay,
he's from downstate. He wants to continue to invest here. He has a local property manager, so there is a local contact. We had those conversations. My first inclination was to just say no. But when I spoke more to Mr. Buntshot and his partner Virginia West, hearing the situation, that they are in, that they're not going to be in the area, I felt it was, if they were willing to provide not even a prorated version, a prorated amount of what they originally purchased for, I felt that was fair, and as did Enterprise.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that that's good. I always think of Barrett Street, and I know we've talked about this before, but just, thinking about like when we talk about the demolitions and the kind of like properties that have already been demolished and just trying to continue to work towards some type of infill project there. So I definitely support this resolution, but I think if we can still be thinking about opportunities and how we actually infill some of those vacant lots over there, especially if we're talking about, adding to that, I would just add that as a comment.
Well, that's good, and I think that's actually, I did want to bring that up today because the 1052, 1062 properties, Barrett properties across the street, which we added to our demolition bid. One currently has the chimney caved in, falling in. The other is out of current zoning, and through conversations with Chris Lawn and the code department, he believes both are in a position to be condemned and taken down that way. The third property is on 7 Mohawk. It's the old Mastriani Bakery property, which was sold to an entity of the Gillespie Group. The fire department has wanted to have that removed, and in normal times, I think they may have just done it on the general fund and proceeded with how they proceed with property issues. It was brought to me from the city that there was conversation that if we come up with a plan to be able to take that property down and the Barrett Street properties, that the city was negotiating infill development on the 1052, 1062 Barrett Street site. That deal, which is not really a deal of ours, has not been formalized yet. I stepped in saying, we already have a demolition bid going out. Let's just see what the pricing is. And then that will provide us the information we need. And I see it as a very nice opportunity to promote infill development at that corner and remove 3 properties, which we'd already targeted 2 of them already. So that's the big picture thought here, that we'd hopefully have something to bring to the board in October. So definitely agree with you. It needs more infill development. This is one of those row houses that, a brick fronted row house, which is, keeps the street face. We were glad to save it. It was one where I remember it was right when I was working with Steve. When we took it, there was talks about having to take it down. The back was starting to fail. We had CT Mail look at it. So we stabilized it with that $10,000, and they've done a decent job of maintaining it and keeping it a productive tax-paying property.
I agree. And I appreciate that input, Kristen, in terms of the infill is necessary to create neighborhood, which was there before. It really went into disrepair, and I'm supportive of all the actions we've taken and all the actions that we're proposing to take, but to restore it with infill is critical to that neighborhood's vitality as well.
Question that I have is on language. They bought it for $6,500.
Correct.
We're not repaying. You say that the language that you're using is that we're paying $6,500. They're giving us an additional $6,500 to get out of the contract.
The $6,500 that they that we sold it to them for.
We got that first 65. Repay would mean we would give them the money.
You are totally right.
We're going to end up
We agree.
getting
Yeah.
$13,000 on this property.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's a matter of language, and I didn't catch it until we were looking
Yep.
here.
No.
Which just boosts, as far as I'm concerned,
Yep.
the value of doing this.
No, you're right. You're right.
And
And we need to accept the original purchase price. We're gonna just get rid of the word, the repayment.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the repayment of the, no, you're right.
Yeah.
The original purchase price, yes.
So we're actually getting 13,000 over the factor. The comment David probably sent out, the second email was sent out, the revised memo, and I want to explain what I asked him to do, and that's adding the whereas clause 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said that we should put that in to be able to make certain that we've set precedent, that somebody doesn't come back a year after buying a property and says, well, I'm moving and I want to sell it and I can't find a owner for it. And, you know, you've already done this for somebody else, do this for me. And we've said two things in the memo. One, we're getting additional sum of money for the property. And also, the property is basically fulfilled the improvement of the neighborhood. And so for those two reasons, I asked them to put that whereas clause in, so that somebody can't come in after a short period of time and say, you did this before.
Do it again, sure.
Yeah, and this is, it'll be up in a year, so that seems, if they've given 80% of the time frame, and that seems reasonable to me.
I agree. Thanks for both catches, Joe. I appreciate that keen eye. You've already moved the motion. Kristen, I know you had a question. I think it was answered. Any other comment or a second?
I think Christian,
Joe moved it and Rich.
Rich, you had already seconded? Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is moved. David, please take the action. And I believe, that is all I have. Bob Martin, I don't know, any updates on Amsterdam Advisory Committee, any of that? I don't know if you were part and parcel to that.
I was away when they had that meeting. I wished I was here, but
Okay.
so and I haven't heard anything. I haven't got a report of what went on at the meeting yet.
No problem. Didn't mean to.
Yeah, I would just summarize, because Nick has been in contact with us regularly. They went over our targeted demolition properties, a whole new regime over there, so a lot of new members. So Nick did a little bit of education we've looked down in the past, and everyone was very receptive of our role there.
Great. Continue to do the good work. Well, fantastic. So our next meeting is October.
before you do that new business, we have to do a budget.
Yep.
It's that time of year, and that has to be added to our next meeting.
Okay,
That means that we have to have a committee meeting. And that probably the best thing to set that up is an online meeting before the October meeting.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so the
I'll
finance
send out a
committee?
draft budget for finance committee to take a look at. And if at that point we can set up a committee meeting, if there are no questions or concerns, we might just do the committee meeting right before the
Which
board
is what we've done in the past, yes.
shout out the date again, October 10th,
October 20th.
20th.
Yep.
Okay. All right, folks, anything else before we adjourn? Any other new business items? It's great to see everyone. Kristen, again, congratulations. I look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
everyone in person soon.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
everybody.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
That's this
right.
weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.